Started. Aaron, am I on here? Can you hear me? All right, so
Yes.
all right, good morning, everyone. My name is Kelsey Daniels, and I'm the Small Business Deputy for the St. Louis District. I'm kind of new to this position. I came over in a detail in October from contracting and decided to stay, so I became official at the end of January. And I just want to thank you all for choosing to be here today. I know that you could be anywhere in the world, and so I'm thankful you chose to be here. I really hope you don't regret it. Like I said, it's kind of my first event, so I'm really excited. Thankful that we have such a good turnout, and I hope you all get something out today. And I would like to say thank you to everyone on our team. There's some other agencies involved that made today happen. I couldn't have done this without you all, and I just appreciate your hard work. So we have a wonderful lineup today, and I'm going to go ahead and go through the agenda. And we are running a little behind, but that's okay. I put in 20-minute slots, and I know sometimes it doesn't really take me 20 minutes to say what I need to say, so we should be okay for the day. So right now we're going to start with some opening comments. Here in a moment, our Colonel and our DPM are going to speak. So that'll be us, Colonel Andy Paneer, John Piker, and myself. And then we'll have Ms. Sherry Cordy from the Memphis District. I always want to say Memphis after I say your name. The Memphis District here. She's going to give a great presentation. I got to see her speak last week at Memphis. Then we'll have our Apex Accelerators speak. We've got Brenda and Teresa here. They're going to do a great job. We'll take a short break. We'll have Troy from the Rock Island District, he is a wealth of knowledge. You guys are going to learn so much from him. We are going to have a couple folks virtual. We have EPA Region 5 and 7. They're small business utilization specialists. So those should be really helpful. I know EPA projects are a big deal here in St. Louis, and there may be quite a few here interested in that. I've got a few tips and tricks I'm going to go through with you guys, and then we'll do a Q&A and close it up and take a lunch break. And then we're going to go over this afternoon session here. So this afternoon, we're going to have open networking from 1 to 5. Right out here, there is a classroom. So if you go out here just to the right, there's a sign that says USACE Networking. We will have tables set up with our folks from USACE, the Rock Island and the Memphis District, and our Apex Accelerators. They all have tables, so you can go in there, introduce yourselves. You know, if you have business cards you want to hand out, that'll be a good area. We were going to do kind of a one-on-one thing, and I decided that might be the logistics would be a little difficult. So I think this will make it to where you can get to all the folks you want to speak to today. So that's the plan there, and that'll be open from 1 to 5. And then from 1 to 2, we're going to have Gary Alexander with the Small Business Administration. He's going to talk about the 8A program and give us some good information on that. And then from 2 to 3, we'll have a senior leadership panel. So that's going to be our Colonel Andy Paneer, some of our leaders in the district, some of the chiefs of the divisions, and that'll be a chance for you. You know, right now, think about it. If you've got any questions, any comments, feedback you want to provide to us, that's going to be a really good place for you to bring those up, help us learn, help you learn. They did the same thing at the Memphis District Industry Day and the Division Industry Day for the Mississippi Valley Division. It was really interesting. I got a lot of information out of it, and I really think it helped our contractors. So that's our intent, and we're hoping that we get something really good out of that today. And so, here is our table set up for the open networking. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our Colonel Andy Paneer and let him say a few words this morning. So thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate you being here. A lot of work went into this behind the scenes. I thank Kelsey and the whole team that really put forth a big effort, a big lift to make this successful for you, right? Successful for you to come here as business owners or executives or contracting agents in those businesses to figure out not only what we have across the Corps and some other government agencies, but how do you get that work and how do you work with it? And so first, I just want to say thanks. I took command in July of last year. A former commander, now Colonel retired Kevin Gollinghorst, works here. I probably should have asked you ahead of time if it's the Trex or the T-Rex. what's preferred, but works here now and really gracious to host us here in this facility, wonderful facility that you can come out to. I do want to take a minute to touch base on what Kelsey was talking about on the leader panel, the senior leader panel. That panel is for all of you in business, right? To come and freely ask questions that are on your mind, whether it's a concern about working with the Corps that you've experienced in the past, or it's how do I get in, right? That's a big question, is how do I get into government work? What's the tricks to get in? Why is it so difficult? How do we navigate through that? Just talking with a few people this morning, right? I equate it to the hiring system of the federal government. If you're a new, right, if we're going to hire a wage grade employee to work on one of our dredges and you're coming out of high school and you try to get into the federal government's hiring system on USA Jobs, it's impossible. You're intimidated from the start. When you look at what the description of the job is, there's no way I qualify, and then you try to navigate through that monstrous system. And sometimes I think for small businesses, it feels that way as well when you're trying to get into government for work. And so that panel's designed to have the right experts up there from the district that can answer those questions you have. So please candidly ask your questions. If those questions involve great interactions you've had with the Corps, great, I want to hear that. But really, if they involve struggles you've had, I really want to hear that. The greatest partners we have are the ones that will give us critical feedback on where we're not doing well so that we can reassess what we're doing and figure out a better way. So General Spellman established this 3 years ago in SAME small business conference, had a small turnout the first year, a little bit bigger the second year, and then this year he had a really big turnout of different contractors that could come and just engage. And so great model from him to do that, and we just want to carry that here. Also, there's a lot of experts that we have here, not just within this district, but again, neighboring districts within Mississippi Valley Division and other government agencies. So I'd encourage you, if you're not listening in on a session at the moment or you're not engaged at a table, go find somebody and engage with them. Don't miss an opportunity while you're here. We love to build the relationships here in the St. Louis district and further the contractor base we have. There's a lot of work across the United States right now, so we can never have enough relationships with contractors to have work done. And we need a lot of contractors in a big base, but I'm not greedily trying to pull all of the St. Louis district for work. There's a lot of opportunities here from the other districts and a lot of opportunities from other government agencies, and I want you to be able to engage with them. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to John Piker, our civilian deputy. Thank you for being here. I look forward to talking with you today, and I hope this is a productive day for all of you.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you. Great turnout. So super. Welcome to downtown St. Louis. Again, I echo Colonel Paneer and thanking T-Rex to let us host this terrific facility. Obviously, part of the St. Louis's old garment district that has been repurposed pretty well, I think. Not making hats and clothes in here anymore, but doing other great things. We as a district, and I could speak for the other two districts from Mississippi Valley Division here today, and probably our sister districts in Kansas City and Louisville, this region is seeing an unprecedented investment into both water infrastructure and other projects for other agencies in this region. In fact, we probably haven't seen an influx of this much capital into infrastructure in the government since the Great Depression. So massive amount of work coming over the next 5 to 10 years here in the St. Louis region, and not just for the St. Louis district. Our sister district in Rock Island's got a lot of work. Our sister district in Memphis has a whole bunch of work, and it's getting some work into the budget that has been long neglected. So great for them. Additionally, here in St. Louis, Kansas City district is wrapping up a terrific mega project with NGA here downtown. And on the heels of that, they'll be building a new large hospital to replace John Cochran for our nation's veterans. So you're going to see a whole lot of work from the government here in the St. Louis region over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that's a terrific opportunity for us, the Corps of Engineers, to deliver our nation's infrastructure to our taxpayers and citizens. And I think it's a great opportunity for business to do a lot of innovative, good work. One thing I've been really impressed with over the last few years is our safety record, both as a district and you all as our contractor. Our Chief of Engineers is reemphasizing safety and the importance of safety. And I just want to thank you as partners. From what we've seen in the last couple of years, our safety record and your safety record is outstanding. And I just want to commend you on that, but I also really want you to double down and put effort into sustaining strong safety standards on our job sites. And I want to thank you in advance for that effort. I've got a couple quick overview slides here, and then I'll kick it back to Kelsey to kind of walk through some of the projects. We're starting a little late, so I'll be brief. Only 45 minutes or an hour. Next slide, please, Lieutenant. So we're a meat and potatoes civil works district. Most of the work we do is on the river or directly adjacent to the river. We got 5 lock and dams, 5 multi-purpose flood control reservoirs with a lot of associated recreation sites with those. And then it's open river from here to the bottom of our AOR in Carroll, Illinois. So we do a lot of river dredging and rock work from St. Louis south. So that's our traditional work, right? Additionally, we have a smaller hydropower unit at our lake up at Mark Twain in northwestern Missouri. And we do a lot of interesting work under our FOOSRAP program with legacy nuclear waste from the early atomic weapons program that St. Louis area was pivotal to our nation in producing. Unfortunately, that produced some legacy materials that we're still dealing with. So that's our bread and butter. We also do some really what I call boutique international and interagency services, including heavy metal remediation, curation and archives, which is really niche, and we're the mandatory center for expertise for the entire Army. We also do quite a bit of geospatial work and quite a bit of front-end work for formerly utilized defense sites. So we've got a large plethora of different and diverse work in the district, and we're really proud of that. But one of our programs that we're most proud of, and I bring it up because we hit some major milestones this year, is our Veterans Curation Program. It's now 14 years and running. It's generally in the president's budget, and it's a program, it's a bridge program for our nation's veterans to train them in all kinds of applicable skills to join the workforce or re-enter higher education. And this year we had 700 veterans trained at our various labs across the nation. The flagship lab is here in downtown St. Louis. So that's 700 vets, and our success rate, and success means either the veteran was placed into a job or placed into higher education at the end of the program, is 91%, which no kidding around, beats the pants off, and I'm bragging, any Veterans Administration program or DOD program like it. So we're really proud of our VCP team, and hitting that major milestone this year was just terrific for them. Next slide, please. So we've got some major projects coming up, and I'll hand it over to Kelsey Daniels here in a second. But generally, our program in St. Louis District runs between $200 and $300 million a year. That puts us in the middleweight class of Corps of Engineers District. We're not on the small end, but we're not on the big end like Louisville and Kansas City. So that's pretty much where we go, and we do a lot of diverse stuff. So I think there's a lot of both prime and subcontractor opportunities within the St. Louis District across almost all disciplines in engineering and construction. So with that said, thank you again for coming today. I know some of you traveled from a good distance, so I really appreciate that. And I'll turn it back over to Kelsey.
Thank you to Colonel Paneer and to John for those introductions and talking about our district. And I do love this district. It's near and dear to my heart. I grew up by Wren Lake. I've seen some familiar faces out there. There's some close to it, so very proud of this place. So we're going to go through just some of our projects that we have coming up that may be of your interest. Not necessarily going to pinpoint them all out. These will, just so you know, these slides are going to be posted after the event. We are also, I believe, Lieutenant, are we recording this? Okay, so we're going to try to post this out later. We'll have this WebEx recorded as well. If you want to watch it back or want to share it with somebody else on your team that wasn't able to be in person, we'll have that available for you all. Okay, so we've got the VA Jefferson Barracks Cemetery chapel rehab coming up. And we have the NAICS codes listed up here. So if you're not familiar with NAICS codes, those are codes that are going to describe what type of work we're doing, whether it's services, supplies, construction. And then based on those NAICS codes, that tells us whether, today is a small business industry day. Large businesses, you're welcome to be here as well. But that does let us know, based on the standard size of these NAICS codes, what your business is classified as, whether you're a small business or not. And we'll get to it here in a little bit, but our district has goals to meet in these socioeconomic categories for small businesses. And so we're searching and looking for small businesses that can meet our need and help us with our mission. So we're looking at, this is NAICS code 237990, construction, and hoping to get this released in the second quarter. Don't hold us to these dates. I used to work in contracting. I know it's hard to get everything out, but this is our projections here. And planning on a small disabled veteran-owned business set aside. Okay, then we have Department of Energy, new staff parking lot and construction. Oh wait, district office. That may be, no, it is Department of Energy at Weldon Springs. And this is the same thing, second quarter, and we're looking at the NAICS code 238290, if that sparks your interest. Then we have the PSB lab, building demolition, also in Weldon Springs, and this is 238910, construction as well, second quarter. You can see the cost ranges as well. And then we have the UMRR Harlow Island Stage 1 in Jefferson City, Missouri, also construction, and a combined sewer overflow rehab in St. Louis as well in construction. And these are Missouri projects. So we're going to go through, we'll look at Missouri, we'll have some in Illinois. So we'll go ahead to the next slide, please. So here we have some Illinois projects. We have the Wood River Pump Station modification. Aaron, are you in here? Did you say at the last place that was in the progress already? Was it out?
There was some barracks on the previous slide.
Okay. I knew it was one of those. I just couldn't remember. I want to make sure I didn't miss that. So we've got a NAICS of 237990 looking at third quarter. And then we have the Wood River Relief Well Package, number 3 in Wood River as well, 237990, hoping to release that in third quarter. We have more relief wells coming here in East St. Louis, so that'll be construction as well. And then a filter blanket in East St. Louis, construction also. So like I said, you'll get these, and that way if you want to look this up. And in my tips and tricks, I have some info, and I think Sherry might as well, on how you can search in SAM.gov for projects that are for our district. Okay, so now we're going to move to our operations division projects. We have some representatives from operations today. So if this is something you're interested or you're located, near one of our lakes or river projects, there will be folks at the networking that you can talk with. It's kind of they do a lot out there, all kinds of different supplies, services, construction. So it's kind of a mixed bag. They'd be some good folks to chat with. So we've got a Carlisle Lake and Jerry F. Costello Lock and Dam. We've got a dredging IDIQ coming up there. And that's in third quarter, hoping to release. We've got the Carlisle Lake facilities maintenance IDIQ coming up. We have a Lake Shelbyville dredging contract, mowing at Lake Shelbyville. If that's, I don't know if we've got any mower or cleaning or waste management contractors here today, but we need that at our lakes. A lot of those areas are kind of remote, and I know when I was in contracting, I struggled to get people out to those areas, but when you have thousands and thousands, sometimes millions of visitors come into lakes each year, we definitely need those services done. So then we have Mark Twain facilities maintenance IDIQ coming out. All of those lakes are setting up these IDIQs, and we're hoping in third quarter as well. We'll have a pesticide spraying contract. Same, if you're a mower or you do any type of chemical application, we'll have pesticide spraying. Next slide, please. And this is continued from them. We've got the Rivers Project, facilities maintenance, Rivers Project, a floating plant IDIQ, a diving BPA. So I don't know if we've got any diving companies here, but we'll have the BPA coming up for that. We'll put out call orders as needed. We have the Rivers Project load handling, inspection, and training BPA. I know in Memphis, I talked to some folks that did training. So if that's, that's your area, make sure you take note on that. Mel Price, Lock and Dam, direct acting cylinders contract. Lock and Dam 27, culvert valve, drain grouting. And then we have another facilities contract coming out at Wren Lake. Next slide, please. All right, so here we're going to talk about FOOSRAP, the formerly utilized sites remedial action program. In case you don't know what that means, a lot of acronyms here in the Corps. So we have the HTRW remediation services for the St. Louis sites for FOOSRAP, and that's coming out hopefully in Q3. It's a big contract, $98 million. 98, yes. And then we've got another FOOSRAP, HTRW, we'll have a lab services, so laboratory verification and environmental services. And that's, we're hoping to come out in Q4 with that. And then we've got an HTRW remediation services at the Iowa Army Ammunition Plant. Same there, Q4 is the hope. Next slide, please. Here's some nationwide MATOC projects that we have. We have a historic preservation, A&E, that 25. So this is some stuff in the future, and then we have environmental remediation design. And I know we have a lot of environmental folks here today, so just something to take note of. And then we've got our NEST projects. We've got the Lock and Dam 25 expansion. We'll have the bulkheads contract, and then we're going to have the downstream guide cell. Okay, next slide. All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about our small business program here. So this table we're going to talk about, we've got our 23 at our actuals. So we achieved 51.81% of our dollars spent in contracting was to small business. And so each year we have goals that we set, kind of based on what we did last year, what we want to achieve. We want to put money into small business and support you all because you are, when I think about my community out at, in the St. Louis district, you are the people supporting those communities. So, we reached for small disadvantaged business, we reached 25%. We had a woman-owned small business of 14%, which is great. Service disabled, veteran-owned, we hit 3%. So, trying to boost those up. And at HubZone, we reached 1.9. And I know HubZone's kind of a hard one. So many of your employees have to live in the area. Talk to your SBA folks, see if you qualify for that, because as we're doing market research, if there are 2 or more businesses that we think are going to, quote and can do the job that are in a category, we can set that aside to you. And there are some, like the 8A, we can do some sole source as well. Obviously, we love competition. Competition's good for you. It's good for us. Good for our tax dollars. So we try to do that. But there are some instances where we can do sole source or just set it aside to a smaller group rather than, we start at, if it's full and open, it could go to any size business. If it's set aside just for small business, but then we can make it even smaller. Say I've got 2 service disabled veteran-owned businesses interested and can do the job, then we could just set it aside to them. So if that's something you've never heard about, that's how we do our market research. We see who's out there, and it'll be in my tips and tricks today, but make sure if there's a sources sought out and you're interested in the job, make sure you're applying to that, because that's a big way that we collect this market research. And so if you don't let us know you're out there and you're interested, we don't know you're there. And so that could change the outcome of how we set these things aside. So I just wanted to throw that bone out there. And then, so our fiscal year 24 goals are listed here. We've got a goal of 51% small business, 18% small disadvantaged business, 14% for women-owned small business, 8% for small disabled veteran-owned small business, and 8% for hub zone. So if you meet one of these categories, we're looking for you. We want to get some work out there. So go ahead to the next slide, please. And then these are our top NAICS codes. This will be posted as well. If you're at Memphis, you've probably heard some of this, but I've posted for each. The first one's for small business, the top NAICS codes and the dollars spent. But then for each socioeconomic category, I have those listed as well, how much we spent on each NAICS code. So you can go ahead to the next slide, please. And if you take a look here, we've got the service disabled, veteran-owned, and the woman-owned. Next slide, please. And the hub zone. So that just, it would be good for you to look and see if the NAICS codes that your company does, see if it's something we're doing here at St. Louis. And if we haven't, it doesn't mean we won't. Feel free to reach out to me and let me know your capability, and we can see if there is something here at St. Louis for you to do. So we've got some contacts here, and that'll be shared with you all. We've got, many of our chiefs of operations, construction, contracting, they're all listed out here. And go to the next slide, please. And then here's some of our industry outreach events. Last week we were at Memphis. I need to get Troy. Troy will probably share his date for Rock Island, if that's something you're interested. They're pretty close to here. New Orleans district dates in there. I will be at the Rock Island event. And then there is a SAME, I'll put a plug in here too, Industry Day here in St. Louis in April, and one in Rock Island. And if you've never been to the SAME SBC conference, it'll be in November this year in New Orleans. It's a good event. That was my first event as a small business person, so I was like, wow, this is crazy. Got to meet a lot of people, a lot of contractors that are doing things that I need at St. Louis. So it was a really great event, and if you can attend that, it's totally up to you. But it was very interesting, and met a lot of good people. And I know you guys as contractors are also looking for teaming partners. If you haven't got your foot in the door to be a prime yet, you might be looking for some subcontracting opportunities. Events just like this are a good place to get out, meet folks, and if you're not ready to tackle it all on your own, finding another company to help you and grow is a great way to get started. All right, next slide. This has got just some information on our small business sites. It does say respond to sources sought. Always update your sam.gov. I know most of you have probably dealt with sam.gov, and I know it's a headache. So we just try to do that stuff early so you're not, I know there's sometimes we're in contracting ready to do an action, but we're waiting on SAM to do some kind of approval to make sure you're active or whatever. So my suggestion is just try to do that early. And there will be some changes. I know the Memphis district said they were really using Pi for proposals, but that's the new way, and that's where everybody's moving to. Dunn's numbers have been replaced with the UEI. You probably know that. There's no Donovan Bradstreet anymore. And so there's some additional information. Does talk at the end about capability briefings. If you would like to set up a capability brief, today you meet some contacts and you want to spend some more time and try to share your capability with the district, please feel free to get a hold of me. My cards are out front. I probably bugged you all sending you emails about this event, so please feel free to reach out and we can try to schedule one of those. And I think that's it for me. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll move on to Ms. Sherry with the Memphis district.
Hi, good morning, everybody. How many of us were at the Memphis Small Business Industry Day last week, or the NVD Regional Day last week? That's not nearly as many as I thought would have gone. You missed out. We had a huge party, and you weren't there. So I'm Sherry Cordy. I'm the Small Business Deputy for Memphis District. So I'm Ponce's counterpart down there. Next slide, please. So we'll go over first who we are at Memphis District, where we are, and what we do. Because even if we don't go over our projects, which we will today, even if we didn't, this is going to give you an idea of kind of what to look for and where to look for it. Next slide, please. So here's where we are. Our district boundaries includes portions of 6 states. So we have, without looking, we have Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Illinois, and Missouri. Did I get it right? Okay, because if I didn't, they'll probably come fire me like in the middle of this thing. We're responsible for 600 miles of navigation channels, over 1,000 miles of federal levees, which is longer than the length of Texas, going east-west or north-south. And we're the designated Mississippi Valley Division Center for Water Sustainability. Next slide, please. Here's where we operate. How many people have been to downtown Memphis, not to Beale Street, but to the federal building? We're close to there. So this is where we are. We also have some area offices. We have EEY, which is where we house the dredge Hurley. That's what we use to dredge the Mississippi River with. And we have 3 pump stations. But you will see, especially, I think some of my slides also contain like pump station requirements. And those are with our, like, I think local partners, state partners, so one of our partners. Next slide, please. So we do what we do because we don't want something like this to happen again. Next slide, please. Here is an overview of our Regional Channel Improvement Program. Every single time I go, I look at this slide, I get so excited. It's so cool. And that's because before I worked with the Corps of Engineers, I wasn't aware that, like, I never thought about the river or it, looking like spaghetti on a wall whenever you look at the old maps of where it's gone and stuff like that. So anyway, so it's always so fascinating to me to see what it takes to keep it in place, to keep our community safe, and to keep the river open for commerce. So what we do real quick, because it's just so cool. We go along the riverbank, we smooth it out, and we lay out these articulated concrete mattresses. And if you haven't watched the video, the link is down here. Once you get the slides, you should be able to click that link. It's like 7 minutes. But if you haven't watched it yet, just watch it because you'll be so happy with yourself. Next slide, please. So, of course, along up and down the Mississippi River, we all do dredging. Now, I think, and I know the Orleans District, and I'm not sure about, and I think Vicksburg District, I'm not sure about further north, but for Memphis District, our minimum requirement for dredging is like a 24-inch cutter head. And so, like I said, New Orleans has some smaller dredge jobs. Mobile District, I think, has some smaller dredge jobs. But really, that's the only thing that we have for dredging. So you as a small business, of course, you can't go for that, excuse me. But there are some subcontracting opportunities, which we'll go over later, that are available where you can do your best to make those opportunities available to you. Next slide, please. So we are responsible for some harbors up and down the river. Our dredge Hurley does that. For our harbors, we put out a SATOP every so often to dredge our harbors. Next slide, please. St. Francis Basin. I'm not going to go over this a whole lot. Our project manager over St. Francis Basin is Mr. Jairus Stroop. It's not Jairus, it's not Jairus, it's Jairus. But I'm sure, if you mispronounce it like I did the first 10 times, he'll be fine. But real quick, pretty much all of our project managers are really, really cool, and they're very laid back. So if you have a question about any of these projects, please reach out to me first because the small business deputy is really the front door to the district. But if you really, really had to and you reached out to Jairus or whatever other project managers, I'm sure that they would be amenable to that. Next slide, please. Water sustainability. Those are some of our projects. We'll go over Biomeda here in 3.2 in a few minutes. Next slide, please. Small business is big business at USACE Memphis. Next slide, please. Here are our small business goals. Now, I didn't put past years, FY19, FY20, FY21 on here, but if I did, you would see that we historically cover around 70% of all of our dollars spent at Memphis District to small business, which it always blows my mind. It should blow yours too, and let you know that there is opportunity for you at Memphis District. This year, our small business goal overall is 67% for small disadvantaged businesses. It's 5, 8 for services able, 4% women. Now, real quick for our women-owned small businesses, we typically do around 20%, but because this year we don't have a lot of our rock jobs coming out, which we'll typically set aside for women-owned, it's lower. But keep an eye out for future years if you are a women-owned small business in the 237990 arena, because we like our women-owned businesses to do our river work. And for HubZone, 7%. Real quick on HubZone, Kelsey did mention that check if you are a HubZone. The maps change all the time. I think it's like 35% something of your employees have to live in the HubZone. Doesn't hurt to check. Takes like 5 minutes, or you just call your Apex or SBA and they can help you see if you qualify. Next slide, please. So for Memphis District, and I stole this idea from Kelsey to put this on here because I think it is important. These are our top 5 NAICS codes for socioeconomic category. So now I'll tell you real quick, for this 236, 220, we don't typically contract out a whole lot for that NAICS code. So I think St. Louis District has disaster response now. Memphis District had it prior. And so there are a lot of roofing jobs and stuff like that. So that's why you see 236, 220. But I'll tell you right now, and you'll see on these projects that we're about to go over, it's pretty much all 237990. So if you're into that NAICS, raise your hands. I can see you. Don't be shy. Okay, so if that's your bread and butter, please look at our opportunities because just like St. Louis needs you, we need you too. And we might be more fun. So choose Memphis. Next slide, please. Okay, so we talked about what we do. We talked about where we are. We talked about what opportunities goal-wise might be available to you. So now we'll talk about our projects. Next slide, please. So I mentioned Biomeda. So Wabasika Bayou. Now I had the wrong anticipated solicitation timeline on here. It's getting pushed because we're having some real estate issues. Not the first time you've heard that. The most important thing on this slide, aside from knowing what it's obviously a channel clean out, which is important because we don't want things to flood and stuff like that. So the acquisition strategy is to be determined. That's because we don't know how many 237990 women-owned or HubZone or service-disabled veterans or 8As would be interested and capable and able to submit your reasonable price, would be interested in bidding on this. So you're going to see a source to SALT notice come out for this. Now, when it's in solicitation phase, that's a time when you guys can be at each other's throats, they'll talk to each other, whatever. But when it's sourced to SALT, this is when you really need to get together and say, look, let's bid on this because you're service disabled, I'm service disabled. Let's keep this in our pool and then we can fight later. So that's when you call your buddies and please do respond because it is really important. And small business deputies, we get the fun part of going out and meeting all of you. And we really like you guys, by the way. Like our contractors are so cool. So we get the fun part of the job. But we also meet so many of you and we can't always remember what everyone does, or if it's a requirement or something we're not really sure who has capabilities. Anyway, for whatever reason, we put out the source to stop, please respond to it. At Memphis District, not every district does. This is the first time I've heard a district doing this, but when we are going to put something out 8A sole source, we're just under the threshold of $4.5 million. It has to go sole source. Above 4.5, it needs to be 8A competitive if we're going that route. We will put out a sources sought. And that's how our KO will go through and see who wants this job, who am I going to sole source to. So if you see something like $4.5 million and you might want that to go to you, go ahead and respond. Next slide, please. So St. Francis Basin. This is another channel playing out. I think the solicitation date for this one was still good. You will see a sources sought notice for this come out. Magnitude is $5 to $10 million. Next slide, please. Here's a pump station renovation. And by the way, I think every single one of these makes code is 23799. I don't think that we have anything on here that's not. Same magnitude as the last one, $1 to $5 million. Next slide, please. Another channel clean out. Solicitation date looks good. This one's a little bit bigger, $10 to $25 million. So look at your bonding, maybe partner up, whatever you need to do if you want to go after this one. Next slide, please. Another pump station. Says second quarter. Oh no, you know what? Because I wanted to make sure I tried to give the most accurate and up-to-date information, I went on sam.gov this morning, and guess what is out on sam.gov right now? Cottonwood Slough. So if you're interested in that, the current date offers are due is March 28th. So we do use PIE, P-I-E-E, not the actual pie, because it will all be a billion pounds. So if you haven't used that system before, not familiar with it, get with your Apex or get with me and I can point in the right direction. There is free training. As we all know, training doesn't always help, but it can get you started to go in the right direction. So this is out right now. Service disabled, veteran-owned, small business. Next slide, please. Okay, so value meter. This one, the solicitation date is wrong because it's connected to Wabasika. So like I said, we're having real estate issues. And so this one I think got pushed to next fiscal year. So maybe we're looking at the first quarter of FY25, which would be October, November, December timeframe for the solicitation. This one is expected to go total small business set aside. And don't let the magnitude scare you, because even down in New Orleans, they have big projects, but we're required by the defense federal acquisition regulation to put out these magnitudes so you can kind of get an eye out or get an idea of what to kind of expect. Next slide, please. Slope flattening. Now we do have a few of these coming out. I think we have a couple in the beginning of FY25. This one is expected for here in a few months. 8A sole source. Next slide, please. Services and supplies. So one issue that I do see with our services and supplies is that a lot of times it'll go unrestricted because we don't get enough responses on sam.gov. So if any of these things are in your wheelhouse, you can email me or just keep an eye on sam.gov also to make sure you don't miss anything, because if it goes out unrestricted, it just hurts my heart a little bit. Next slide, please. Okay, so we went over what we have available in this district. We're coming out. So now we'll go into how to find it, and I'll try to be quick. I'm sorry, I know we're pressed for time. So this is our QR code to go to our website. Next slide, but everything will be available, so don't do it right now. Next slide, please. Here's what our small business page looks like. Our forecast is plastered right in front. Next slide, please. Here's what it looks like. Next slide, please. SAM.gov. You don't even have to sign in sometimes to look at opportunities. So even if you don't have 30 seconds to sign in, just go look maybe daily if you're able to. Next slide, please. Here's our DODAC. If you search by this with the asterisk at the end, that's going to pull up more information for you. This will pull up Memphis. Next slide, please. Here's a listing of all the DODACs within the Corps of Engineers. W912 asterisk will pull up most of these districts' opportunities. Next slide, please. Subcontracting. So if maybe if you aren't in the 237990 arena, but you still want to get a piece of one of these projects, let's go over how to do that. So any other than small firm, with the exception of very, very few exceptions, they need to submit a subcontracting checklist. It's like 44 items that they have to check off to let us know that they're doing everything they can to provide fair and equitable opportunities to small businesses. Next slide, please. Okay, so we talked about subcontracting opportunities for dredging earlier. Here are some of the things that they might subcontract out for. So, next slide, please. I don't know if anyone's going to take a picture or anything, but yeah, the slides will be available later. So SBA Subnet is another place that you can go and look. This is where you as a small business can go and see which large firms are have subcontracting opportunities for you, and that's where you can go to put your name out there. Next slide, please. So SBA, because they're so wonderful, has a directory of all federal prime contractors who have subcontracting plans. So this is your chance to find out who you can market yourself to for those subcontracting opportunities. Next slide, please. This is what that list looks like. Excel format, so it's easy for you to search. Next slide, please. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you. Next is Apex.
Thank you. I was observing the camera technician, and he was following you back and forth. So I think I'll stay right here to give your wrist a break here, if that's okay with you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Ebler, and I have Miss Brenda Henderson here. And we are with the Illinois Apex Accelerator. So I'm not sure if any of you have worked with procurement technical assistance centers in the past. Maybe. Some. So we're formally the PTAC is what we are called. We are a program that has state roots. So there's also a Missouri Apex Accelerator. There's one in near Rock Island. There's one in Memphis. So there's Apex Accelerators all over the United States. Matter of fact, there's 95 throughout the United States, including Puerto Rico and Guam. So a little bit about our program. We are funded through Department of Defense's Office of Small Business Program. And we have a cooperative agreement with Illinois Department of Commerce, along with my host is Western Illinois University, and Brenda's host is SIU Carbondale. So we are a technical assistance provider. So anything that deals with government contracting, we would certainly be your point of contact. We do not charge for any of our services. It's available to you at no cost. And whenever there's updates or breaking news of what's going on, we would certainly be the one that could help you with that process. And what I tell businesses, if you don't like what you receive from your Apex Accelerator, you get what you pay for. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Brenda. She'll, next slide, please.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa. First, I want to say I just have all kinds of kudos for you small businesses who are here today. I've been an Apex Accelerator for about a year, but I've been in business and operating and owning small businesses for over 30 years. And part of that, advertising, marketing, manufacturing, printing. I've been helping businesses grow that whole time. And with this role, I have the luxury of just being able to focus my time on really doing that, helping businesses grow through government contracting and sharing the knowledge that I am pouring into my head at fast pace, as fast as I can get it in there. So I just encourage you to reach out to an Apex Accelerator. Rely on these resources that are built in. So in our intro courses, I like to ask this question, and I think that maybe some of you probably have some experience already in government contracting, which maybe you're in a little bit different, group collectively. So I'm curious, what do you think of when you hear the words government contracting? Anybody? There's a quiet this morning. None. Opportunity? Oh, that's great. I love it. Good. I asked this question partly for research, and so that I can, put that to my messages to attract people and get them to understand what we can help them with. So, something else I think of with government contracting now is that 68 cents of every contract dollar stays in the community of the award recipient. So that got me pretty excited about how we can help elevate our communities and regions. Next slide now. So some other people have some thoughts on what government contracting can do. Like Entrepreneur Magazine, they say the best way for small business to grow is to make the federal government their customer. And next slide, please. Inc. magazine says selling to the government makes it easy to grow your small business fast. And American Express Open says the government is the best way to grow your small business. And a study showed of all small businesses, only 5% are going to make it to the $1 million in annual revenue mark. But 47% of those that make the government their customer will make it to that $1 million mark. So kind of incentive to, at least kick the tires on it. So,
Brenda gave me the short end of the straws. So I have the most lengthy slides that are certainly the most boring ones, but helpful for all of you. To build on what Brenda had mentioned, our program, we help businesses. She mentioned she had a class. We help businesses through training, education, workshops, summits. Any facet that's good for you is what we do to help you as a small business. And not only do we work with small businesses, but now that we're under DoD's Office of Small Business Programs, we also help large businesses with those subcontracting plans. So here are some things that we help with that are our most frequent used services. One being SAM. There are so many affectionate terms for SAM, but the technical one is Systems Awards Management. I would share with you some of the other terms that some of our businesses have told me, but we are being recorded and that would not be nice. So bid match notifications, that's one of my favorite ones that any Apex Accelerator can help you with. This is at no charge. And I'll go in a little bit more on the next slide, but not just yet. Solicitation reading. So how we help businesses, it can be from the pre-solicitation stage all the way to the execution stage and the post-award. So we help businesses with every facet, every phase of government contracting. Next slide, please. Oh, did we skip one or is there not one in there? There we go. Okay. So this is the eye chart that I will not go over every single bullet point, but I do want to mention some things that some of the earlier presenters had shared. So one of the terms that was used in the most immediate presentation was DODAC. And what DODAC is, it is a unique identifier for every agency. So if you're wanting to research another agency, find out what their DODAC is. And the way to find out, it's the first, what is it? I think like 5 or 7 digits in the solicitation. 7? 6. Okay, I'm going to go with whatever he says. I'm going to trust you on that. So whatever that may be, you can look at the previous slide and see the first 6 digits. And say you're wanting to work with a different district or a different agency, you can find out those opportunities that way as well. So that was something I wanted to share. And one of the things that I applaud the Corps of Engineers, because I've been doing this for 23 years, 24 in August, is that the Corps of Engineers has been the biggest advocates for small business. And they truly do a good job. And I see this with the results of the businesses that I get the opportunity to serve. So if you have not worked with the Corps of Engineers, I hope that you will be able to find that opportunity here sometime in the future. So for example, they shared that 51%, there was lots of large percentages. It's congressional mandated that small business set-asides is 25%. And here you're seeing goals from the Memphis district and the St. Louis district that are double that. So that's certainly impressive. And I've seen that not only on paper, but through the small businesses. Socioeconomic categories. This is something that Apex accelerators can help, and Brenda will touch upon that here in a moment. And capability statements. So if you do not have a capability statement, I would highly encourage you to reach out to your Apex accelerator, because we have templates and we have ways to help you with this. And it's very important, specifically with the Corps of Engineers, because they have a database. You also have that database where you can reference the capability statements. Yeah. So you can work with your small business professional, have a refined capability statement that is specific to that district that you're wanting to work with, and they are able, based on your NAICS code, to find you. And there was a mention of a scuba diver, and that NAICS code, that's maybe an odd request, but this is the way that they're able to do some of their market research. The other thing that was mentioned by the previous 2 presentations was NAICS codes. This is, again, something that you can get at no charge. You can go to the U.S. Census Bureau and search your NAICS codes. That's the most credible place to find it. But what's so important is that if you're looking at a bid or an opportunity, you want to make sure that you have that NAICS code in your sam.gov profile. Because if not, then that's not going to be something that you're eligible to do. So that lovely SAM just keeps on resurfacing, just like what it also does with PI. So if any of you have to work with PI, that administrator is the one that is going to be able to create that PI account. So you can certainly look at these when they're shared with you with all the different things that we can help you with. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Brenda so she can go more about our program.
So, have you been asked, are you registered in SAM? Do you have a UEI or a cage code? Or are you certified? Any of these questions would indicate that you could come and talk with us, and we would help you through any of those points. So the cage code question is exactly how in the late 90s I started my venture into government contracting. A gentleman called and asked if I had a cage code. He said, well, can you tell me what a cage code is? And he did, and I collected his information and what he needed, and I got my cage code. We called him back and went on to work with all of the major federal government agencies and many, many state and local government units across the nation. So if you're probably already to this point being here, but if you have friends, and most of us small businesses have other friends who are in business, most of my friends are business owners, so share this information with them, that there are resources. I find that many of the people that I come across, they have not heard about they hadn't heard about PTAC, and they're just getting warmed up to Apex. So that's good. I just feel important that, I try to reach as many people with this information, because there's certainly going to be people that can thrive and grow their business. So the are you certified question takes us into small business certifications. And we've talked about them here today, but they're pretty important. Government needs small business, and they need the certified small businesses. Small business certifications are for small companies that are owned by economically and socially disadvantaged individuals. And benefits of the certification include increased recognition, limited business competition, preferential treatment, and set-aside contracts, as Kelsey and Terry both mentioned here. Kicker is each of these certifications kind of has a different process. Again, that's what we can help you with. And we want to help. So please lean on us for those things. So in the federal contracting space, it all starts with SAM. It's the central registration point for federal government contractors and provides the government with the information they need to make that award. And it's free. Just speaking for you, government executes contracts and complete goals and grants funds to provide public services and stimulate the economy. But we have to be registered to submit those bids. Again, there's no charge and there's help with the Apex Accelerator. We talked earlier about that there's 95 Apex Accelerator centers across the nation. There are 9 currently in Illinois. Teresa and I are down here in the southern end. I covered southern region and southeast region. Any southern Illinois folks here today? No. Right. Teresa's over here in the west central, oh no, southwest and central and west central. So large territories. We're actively trying to, reach out and capture those businesses that could use our help. And our program director is often comments how he wants our program to be a premier government contracting program. And, I find that across the nation. The Apex Accelerators I've met from all over the country. We're here to help and are enthusiastic about it as well. So we'll have information at the table about how you can find the center nearest you. So please stop by in that networking hour. So first steps. If you haven't entertained the notion yet of government contracting, evaluating and knowing your products and services, just like in business to business or business to consumer, is ultimately important. And I would add also knowing your customers, because that's how we're going to help you find government customers. Also, build relationships. I think sometimes people think they're going to register in SAM and they've kind of just put in a ticket for a drawing or a lottery. There is a lot to it, but there is a process and there is help. So register as a client through Apex Accelerator. Got our slide here with our contact information, QR codes to find a center, and here our Illinois code. We also have a couple events coming up. Do you want to?
One thing I want to mention, and it's certainly sporadic, but I forgot to mention. So the goal of hub zones, historically underutilized business zones. Yes, I am jumping around, but there's a difference with that certification based on some of the others. So hub zone is based on location, and it is 35% of your employees must reside in a hub zone. It doesn't have to be the one where that place of business is at, but it has to be somewhere in another hub zone. And then that primary location has to be in a hub zone. Why that one is unique is it's based on place, not race or gender. The other certifications, 8A, women-owned, veteran-owned, well, they're all based on socioeconomic categories. So certainly consider, and you could be both. So if you fit one of those socioeconomic categories and you reside in a hub zone, that could certainly be something that could be helpful for you in your business. The events that Brenda was mentioning. So just like this event here today, we have March 12th, which is Tuesday next week, we have an industry day for Scott Air Force Base. And we'll have all the contracting professionals doing very similar types of briefings as what the Corps of Engineers has done. And we'll also have a small business panel and a large business panel, facility clearance, and cybersecurity. So if you're interested in that industry day, we have a QR code at the back of our table, or come find me. And then we also have one the following Tuesday on the 19th, which is a statewide summit. And that's a full day of different training sessions just based on your level of a business, whether you're entering into the government marketplace or you're a well-seasoned business. That could be something that's a benefit to you. That's going to be in the northwest portion of Illinois, and the other one's near Scott Air Force Base. I want to make sure that we're respectful of time. And break is next, isn't it? Did you want me to? Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We say quick. Let's do at least 15 minutes. So 10:45 or so, we'll come back. So take a minute, stretch your legs, get up, and then we'll get back into it. To Troy's slide again. Okay, folks, what you've all been waiting. Mr. Troy is going to speak from the Rock Island District, and I know you'll be entertained. He's a great speaker, so thanks for coming, Troy.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks for the St. Louis District for letting us come here. We've had an opportunity to kind of, present at hotels, restaurants, convention centers, but never Jurassic Park before. So this is kind of cool. So next slide here. I am with the Rock Island District. This is our footprint here. We're up and down the Illinois waterway. We actually used to have all 6 locks there, but now we have the 4. And we have locks 11 all the way down to lock 22. And so we also have some of the parks. We have a Coralville Lake, a reservoir. We have Lake Red Rock and Sailor Gulch. So we have a lot of different projects on the lakes, repairing things. We're working on dams. There's just all kinds of different, building buildings, admin buildings, even down to just a toilet, a vault. So all kinds of different things at some of those parks. And there's all kinds of parks and recs up and down the Mississippi River at the different locks and dams as well. So we do, we got a pretty big footprint here, all the way over into the western part of Iowa, Illinois, up to Wisconsin, a little bit of Minnesota and Missouri too. So, but these are some of our major things where we're big flood risk management. We're actually the emergency management center. We do a lot of HESCO barriers, a lot of sandbags. If you guys know people who are into that kind of industry, let us know, because we're always looking for different innovations out there. Take a look at some things. Some things are not price effective, and some things we can't. The government, we can't stick to something that works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But we're always looking for some different ideas out there. Also with the flood risk management, we do some projects up for repairing levees. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then also we have a major flood risk management project in Cedar Rapids that I'll touch a little bit later as well. We do a lot of navigation. That's a lot of our work there. It's a lot of our dollars. Obviously the recreation at the top there, but these are just some of the areas that kind of just define us. And we also help out with other districts as well. We do the Southwest Coastal Louisiana project. We're raising houses for them. And we work in conjunction with we've helped out with the Lock 25, with the St. Louis districts as well too. Next slide, please. This is our small business goals. Last year, it's really tough because we normally did around 150 million, 150 million a year, and then the infrastructure bill got passed, and everyone kind of lost their mind a little bit as far as just like, we're going to do all these projects that have been around forever. We've had projects that need to work for about 30, 40 years. So it's been exciting. We went from that up to $278 million a couple years ago. Last year was $250 million. And this year we're projected about $450 million. So it's quite a bit, bigger things are happening. And some of the projects, you'll see here in a little bit here. Next slide, please. This just kind of breaks down some of our funding. Obviously, it's TBD since we can't pass a budget yet. So once we get that, we'll have more of an idea kind of what's happening. Obviously, with the government, the later the budget gets passed, everything kind of moves to third, fourth quarter, which is typical. So grab your seatbelts and buckle up because it's going to be a fun ride. Next slide. This just kind of breaks down our allocations. You can kind of see how it's changed quite a bit. It fluctuates every year. All of our districts fluctuate a lot of years. Some people go from $100 million to $500 million back to $200 million. So it's one of those things where just always keep in constant contact with us because you just never know from year to year what's going to come across our plate. Next slide. UMRR, this is a project that it's a huge part of our district. These are some of the different studies that we have going right now. These are the different projects. These are fantastic for small business. We've been really successful with that. I don't remember one going unrestricted for UMR. So it's just a really good avenue for small businesses. It's really right up their alley. Next slide. The operation maintenance, these are some of the different things in the Mississippi River. This is one of those years where some years we're doing, Tanner gates, some years we're doing wickets. We do all kinds of different things, but, in a lot of years we've done some dewatering. We've kind of caught up with a lot of those for right now because we had some dewaterings that didn't happen for like 20 years. So this has actually been a real exciting. A lot of the different projects are going up and down there, especially with some of the lower locks like block 22 and 19 and stuff. Next slide. This is the Illinois Waterway. These are some of the different projects we have on Illinois Waterway. The Illinois Waterway is a little bit different than the Mississippi. The Mississippi usually closes down. This year has been kind of weird because it's not really, winter hasn't really showed up, it seems like, except for today. But it's one of those things where the Illinois Waterway does not close. And so when we do projects, we have to kind of negotiate, okay, hey, how many days can we lock it down? Because commerce comes through there and it's unbelievable. I remember when I first started with the government, I didn't realize, just have them truck it, like, do you realize how many trucks it would take to equal, like these barges? And it's unbelievable. So, we get like a 90-day closure or 120-day closure. So these projects alone, it's really schedule driven. And so it's one of those things where a lot of times they go unrestricted. I'm always open to market research and finding some smaller companies that could do this work. But there's just a lot entailed on that one. So always looking forward to that. And every year, from year to year, there's just really cool different projects on that one. Next slide, please. This is our operation. These are our lakes. Some of the things that we do. We've been doing a lot of paving on these lakes. Water infrastructure updates. And just all kinds of different things. So every year is kind of a little bit different. We do have some IDIQs for a couple of lakes that are going to be coming out this year. So you keep an eye on that. Next slide. This is our reservoirs. This is one of the ones that we're working on, a new Ranger building. We actually did an admin building for Lake Red Rock and Sailorville. We actually did combine them together. It's on the same river, and so we kind of want to have some of the same design. That's been an exciting project because that's one of the larger ones that we've had with the travel company. So it worked out really well for us, and we're looking forward to getting that completed. This is the next one up, just a new Ranger building, an admin building that we're going to be working on this year. So a lot of these anticipated advertisement dates, and this one says second quarter, but once that budget gets passed, I think we'll have more kind of an update. We're actually having an acquisition strategy meeting next week, so I will have an updated forecast. I'll send it out to you guys through an email blast. It'll also be on our website updated as well. Next slide. This is one of my favorite projects, the PL 8499. We do a lot of these this year. We have, I think, 8 of them coming up this year. We've done a source of sod out there, so all these are actually going to be small business set-asides. And so they're going to be individual. Some are small business, some are service disabled veteran-owned set-aside. I think one's a woman-owned, and I think one's a hub zone. So keep an eye out for that. We have one out there right now, it's Clinton. And we have a bunch of other ones that are almost 100% complete design-wise. So they should be hitting the street here in the next, probably next couple months. Next slide. Flood risk management, another thing that we do, anywhere from, working on berms, walls and stuff. Every year we have, some different unique projects in this. Next slide. Navigation structural, these are some of the major things we have out here. The Marshall's electrical system, that's the one we kind of keep everyone's attention to. It was out there last year. I'm looking for market research. If this is something you guys are looking at, something you guys could do, let me know as soon as possible, because we'll be doing an acquisition strategy for that probably in the next couple of months. So if it's something you guys are interested in, send me a capability statement. I have business cards afterwards. Just contact me, submit those to me, because we want to make sure we have the small business that can do that. If I don't have small businesses, then it goes unrestricted. So just keep in mind, always respond to source of sods. Always, if you see something on our forecast, blow us up, call us, email us, let us know, because sometimes we always don't do a source of sod. If we already have enough people that we know are interested, and we at least have the rule of 2 met, we can do a small business set aside. But if the more people we find out, if we have 2 women-owned, we can do a women-owned set aside. We're supposed to consider socioeconomic categories first. So always, email us. Don't wait for a source of sod. You just see something, because sometimes if we get the funding, we're ready to go, and we don't have time for a source of sod. So it's kind of a quick turnaround. Some things we have a year to plan out. Some things we just do not. So just keep an eye out for our navigational structural. And sometimes we get extra money, or another project kind of goes, kind of gets moved to the following year because of real estate issues. Then all of a sudden we'll take another one off the shelf. Like, okay, let's do this one instead. So because we have the money set aside. Next slide, please. This is some of the ecosystem restoration we do. We had Steamboat Island Stage 2 HRAP. That has already been a bid, and so that's just want to kind of put you guys on there, just so you guys see these kind of projects do come up year to year. Next slide. Building renovations. This is one of my favorite favorite programs. This program for the last several years has been strictly 8A set aside. We've had such a good response from this. We work with 88s all across in the Midwest area, from Milwaukee to up Wisconsin area, in Illinois, South Dakota, in different states, and basically they basically give us so much money, and we have 6 projects and get it done for that price. And so it's been really good. I mean, we just have sole source it, negotiated, and it's been really successful. And the nice thing about this is once you get in with these, a lot of times when we have new projects, hey, we want to use this company again. Okay, great. And so it's a really good way to get in there. Sometimes people kind of fall off the wayside, or some people go out of the 8A program and we can't sole source it. And so, we're always looking for new companies. And this is one of the ones where, I mean, we had one guy, I mean, he called me and it was a timing thing. And just, we needed someone right away because another company, we couldn't get to negotiate a rate just because they couldn't find local subs. And so they said, hey, I can't do this. I'll be losing money, to be able to get it to the fair and reasonable price. So I had just talked to someone like the day before. I'm like, hey, let's ask these guys, because I know they're right there. They have local subs, and it worked out great. They've had project every year since then. And so that's one of those things where just always contact us, because all the small business deputies, we deal with hundreds of companies. And so just always kind of stay on a radar. Give me a call. It's okay if you call all the time. If you call every day, I might say, hey, I'll let just call me next week. But just always kind of stay in front of us. Come to these kind of events, talk to us, take a look at forecasts, because these 88 projects changed quite a bit. I mean, we have I think we had 6 originally, and then 3 of those kind of went to the next year. And they said, no, we're actually going to do these 6 now. And one of the bottom ones, actually, it's not out there right now because it's a new one that came in that might happen in FY24, but it might go into FY25. So we'll take a look at that. So really take a look at these, especially for a small business, especially for 8A, because you have a real good opportunity to be considered for that. Next slide, please. The Inland Navigation Design Center, I always call this the Top Gun of engineering. They hate it when I say that, but it's a lot of the top engineers are part of this, and they do projects all over the place. And I love this because it's like I'm always kind of going in their office. They're probably too close to mine, and so I kind of go in and just, hey, what kind of cool projects? They're working on projects 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And so they're just major projects. They work on the LaGrange lock rehab they're already doing. The Lock 25, I think they were involved in that quite a bit too. So we're just actually the headquarters for them. Next slide. The Brandon Road Interbasin project. This is a huge project with Asian carp. And if you guys have ever heard of the Asian carp, you've got to Google it. It's incredible. These invasive species. I mean, there's videos of people on their boat just driving down and they're flying out of the water and hit people off the string wheels. And I'm just like, I didn't believe it. Yeah, someone told me about it. Like, come on. And it's true. And so, you got videos of people just with the metal boats and, banging inside the metal boats. And these fish are just jumping out of the water and they're just throwing them in the boat, catch them that fast. But they're trying to keep them out of Lake Michigan because it will destroy the ecosystem there. So they've had electric barrier up by Romeoville that's working, but it's kind of, they hit they get shocked. They kind of float to the top and just kind of sit there and float. Eagles come down and grab them, eat them, and stuff like that. So it's not working the way it should be. It's kind of limiting a little bit. But the Brandon Road project is really cool because it's like they're going to have like a bubbler system. They're going to have speakers in the water, which kind of I think it's kind of like what kind of music are we playing there? So, but they're going to have electric barrier and stuff. You're just trying to keep that up because this is the perfect location for it. So if you guys ever been to Brandon Road on the south side, the elevation is pretty large. So some of the other like Marseilles, LaGrange, sometimes they're completely underwater. Just the way the Illinois waterway is built. For Brandon Road, if it's underwater, we got major problems. So it was just a perfect opportunity, to really, stop the Asian carp as much as possible. There's a lot of government people looking at this. I mean, you've got involvement from Michigan and Illinois waterway just because of the Lake Michigan in Illinois. And so there's just a lot of politics going on. So we're trying to get a PPA signed for over a year and a half, I think. So we're trying to get this one on the ground. 1A will be the first one. I'm looking at combining 1A and 1B, so more to come on that. These are projects that you guys are interested in. We're always doing market research on this. I mean, these are pretty large projects. The first one is going to be over $100 million. So obviously, with the size standards, we've had several meta projects that are take a look at that as well. So keep in mind, always send me your information if you guys are interested in that. We did have an industry day back in December on that one. It was well attended. That's still archived on sam.gov. If you want slides sent to you, I can send those to you. If you want the list of people who attended it, I can send that to you as well. For subcontracting opportunities or teaming up, those kind of things. So it's just going to be a fun project over the next 8 or so years. Next slide. This just kind of gives you a little bigger idea. This is kind of where a lot of the deterrents are going to be. And then the lock is down on the side. There's going to be like a boat ramp, all kinds of different things on this project, but then there's like a bunch of different increments on it because it's so much work. I think it's going to probably be about around $1 billion when it's all said and done. Next slide. This is our NEST project. This is another really big project for our district. We just had an industry day, a virtual industry day on Tuesday for that. The first big project is going to be the Lock 22 fish passage project. And then that's going to be putting a boat ramp in there and stuff like that. We're actually tagging fish to kind of monitor how they're going up and down the river and stuff like that. So this is a huge project. There's a lot of eyeballs on these things. It's going to be probably between $50 and $75 million range on that one. But there's all kinds of different projects for the NEST. So this is one of the things where we have an actual website for that. You guys can just monitor when things happen through it. The Brandon Road is part of the NEST project because it's the navigation ecosystem sustainability program. So there's just a lot of things, on this project. This has been a long time coming, and we're kind of getting excited. The first project we're hoping to get out this fiscal year. So we're just kind of waiting on that. A lot of design is being done by a couple of AE firms. They've been working on this project for several years. Next slide. These are all the upcoming solicitations for the NEST project. So there's a lot of things coming on. Take a look at this. I know Kelsey's going to be sending out the slide deck. So these are some exciting projects, and there's a lot of good visibility. So you guys knock this out of the park. It's just like, oh, remember that NEST project, that company did that. So it's a really good opportunity to put your name out there in the history books. Next slide. This just kind of breaks down some of the big projects. This is the Lock 25 that St. Louis is doing, and we've worked a lot with them and getting this project up and running. Next slide. This is the LaGrange 1,200-foot lock. This one, we're actually looking at, we're going to try to break it down to like 6 different increments. We're doing, we just did a big AE task order to take from 35% to 100%. So I'm not sure. I'm trying to get them to give me a time range as far as when this is going to hit the street, but it all kind of depends on how the design goes. Next slide. This is the Lock 22 fish pass I was telling you about. The little kind of burgundy area. Sorry, Aaron, I'm going to move a little bit. Like right here. That's where the boat ramp is going to go. And so it's really delicate work because you're actually cutting into the dam. And, we're placing like huge boulders, and they have to be in certain positions and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of floating plan. And then with the Mississippi River, sometimes it's like real nice. And we were down the industry day back down in May, and the guys are just kind of floating on their boat, below the dam. There's other days where they're holding on for dear life just because of the way the current is. So this is a really cool project, and just kind of talks about some of the fish they're going to be tracking. They actually, if you guys were in Memphis last week, they actually had a breakout session on the NEST program. So I'm not sure if that was recorded or not. It was recorded. So hook up with Sherry and make sure you guys get the recording on that because there's a lot of information on that. Next slide, please. This is Cedar Rapids Flood Risk Management Project. When I actually came from contracting in Rock Island, and I actually did all the AE contracting task orders. So I was very heavily involved with this for several years. The Cedar Rapids, if you guys have ever been there, Cedar Rapids is actually below the floodplain. So when they've had the last major flood, it's been flooding for decades, but the last big one, it was so bad, it was up to the first floor of buildings. And so that's what I think they've had, like, okay, now we got to do something about it. So this has been really cool. They've had a flood wall on the east side of the river. It's got rolling gates for railroad. It's got rolling gates on the road closures. It's got pump stations. It's got walls. It's got everything. I mean, they put everything on this wall except for a Ferris wheel. And so it's actually pretty cool. We've done quite a few of the projects. I think it's about over $200 million for the whole project now. But actually, the Rock Island District, I think we have like 6 different projects coming up in the next couple of years. And then the city of Cedar Rapids also has projects as well. So just these are one of those things where any of that kind of work I just described, let me know, because we're heavily market research on that right now, because we're starting to look at the acquisition strategies for these projects moving forward. Next slide. These are some of the ones I was just telling you about, the different projects. And they're anywhere from 5 to 10 million, 10 to 20. There's one at 15 to 25, one 25 to 40, one's 50 to 75. So all kinds of different ranges on there. So obviously we're looking at teaming arrangements, and this is one of the ones where we have a lot of small businesses, but there's so much work out there, and there's so many things you get to choose. A lot of times we're only getting like 1 or 2 bids just because there's so much work out there. And so if you guys are interested, and talk to me about that, we'll get kind of a game plan, to kind of get you guys an opportunity to bid these things, and have a higher success rate of winning the bid. Next slide. This is the Southwest Coastal. This is a project that we're doing for Louisiana. Raising up, it was around like 3,800, but now it's down to 3,400 houses. We're actually raising. Most of them are on the west side of Louisiana. And this is a project, we actually have the first, I think, the 21 houses that we're doing. That's out in phase 1 right now. They're doing evaluations for that. And then we'll go to phase 2 and we'll get that awarded. There's actually going to be a SATOC for assessments. And so I think that's going to end up being a small business set aside. But we're always looking for market research. If this is something you guys are doing, you guys have teaming partners to do that, please let me know, because we're taking a look at the rest of them. If it's going to be a MATOC, SATOC, multiple awards, we're trying to get a game plan done now, for the next year to be able to put the next phase of that. We did the first, it started at 27, and some of the houses, weren't viable anymore. Some just took them off the list. Like, you're not raising my house. I'm like, okay. So it's one of those things where it's kind of, it fluctuates a little bit. But, we're kind of using this as, this is kind of new for the district. So we've been taking a lot of feedback. We've had a lot of roundtable discussions discussing, hey, what can go wrong? Those kind of things. And it's interesting because, like, if you're into this kind of industry, it's kind of like, it was a lot of doom and gloom, like, oh my gosh, it's like, but we're looking for how do you mitigate some of those risks and stuff. So really exciting project. I've actually got 2 or several of the homes that have been raised or in the process of being raised. So it's actually a really cool process. Next slide. This is the upcoming. We have a couple of MATOCs. I know these MATOCs have been out there for the planning purpose stage was a couple of years. But we have a $49 million one, small business one, that's in evaluation stages right now. We have a $200 million IDIQ MATOC. But we're trying to get that awarded by fourth quarter this year. So there's, it used to be to the point where I did a lot of the AE stuff, and we'd have a MATOC with 3 $10 million projects, capacities, and that will last like 5 years. Now that's like one task order. So there's just so much work. We can't grow engineers, so there's a lot more AE work out there, available. We're looking for capacity. We're shopping capacity. So if you guys are part of an IDIQ somewhere that has capacity, especially for small business, let me know, because it's like that way I can let our team know. So a lot of times it's easy just to kind of go off of capacity and just do a task order. They do it a whole new one, because doing an AE MATOC, it's a lengthy process. It's over a year process. Next slide. This just kind of breaks down some of the different things that we do look for AE. So if you're a company, there's a lot of AE MATOCs being established, across the United States. A lot of times they're building them, like there's one on the East Coast, I think, that anybody can use it. Normally the MATOCs are like regional, but now you're starting to see them where anybody can use them. We've used a lot of the border wall IDIQs, MATOCs, just to be able to define capacity, because it's like most MATOCs didn't have the capacity. I mean, we're looking for 30, 40, 50, $60 million capacity for just a task order. That's how big these projects are. Next slide. These are some of the upcoming events. I gave Kelsey a hard time because our actually industry bid for Rock Island is not the March 22nd. That was last year's date. Ours is April 2nd and 3rd. That registration just went live yesterday. The way we do ours is on the second from 12 to 4:30 is one-on-ones. You get 15-minute one-on-ones with all kinds of different divisions, districts. And then we have a full day on the 3rd. And this year we're going to have Chicago presenting at it, New Orleans is presenting, St. Louis is presenting, and then Rock Island's going to present. We have so Apex Accelerators coming and SBA is coming as well. So a lot of different things we have packed in that full day there for you guys. Plus there'll be times to be able to go up to a table and then talk to each of the teams. Last year we did like a one-on-one, but it was kind of separated. I kind of want to keep everyone, the network as much as possible. So if you want that one-on-one, that'll be on the 2nd. And these are just some of the different dates coming up, for the rest of our districts. Omaha and Kansas City are ones that aren't part of MVD, but I'm at those each year as well. So if you want to do a one-on-one capability briefing at any of the events, come. Otherwise, I do capability briefings anytime you guys want to do it. I don't have set days. It's just like, hey, if you're going to come in, if you want to do a virtual one, let me know ahead of time. Because I like to get as many people as possible. We just had one, and we had 18 people from the district at that capability statement briefing, just because I pull different people in that are interested in those kind of projects. So let me know, and that way we can find those out. I'm all for capability briefings because that's how we get to know you guys. It's also how the district gets to know you guys as well. Next slide. Doing business with us, just our DODEC is W912EK, and you can go ahead and search that. If you guys, what I do is, if we do post anything, it's a source aside, special notice, a solicitation, pre-solicitation. Usually, if you're on my database, I will send a link to you from sam.gov. I know sam.gov is, I know that you're talking about all the different things, the acronyms or, words that we need to kind of, see if we have the same thing on the list. But I don't trust sam.gov sometimes, so I'll send you guys weekly reminders of what's out there. Because sometimes I can't search my own stuff, so, because the search engine is down or something. So I will send you guys a reminder, a weekly reminder of each individual one. So there's a lot of emails. You guys know that from me. But it just kind of helps you guys because I know there's so much out there, so much competition. We're competing with other districts as well because, we have so much work and there's not so many companies to do the work. Because since COVID, we've lost so many small businesses. I know Iowa lost like 60% of their small businesses. I think Minnesota was like 45%. It's a lot. Either companies merged, went out of business because COVID did its number on everybody. So, reach out to us. I can keep you updated what's going on. Update our forecast. We're trying to update the forecast a little more, but everything keeps getting moving. And once I push send, the next day it's off. They're like, oh no, that's actually at 425. So it's kind of hard for us to monitor that because it changes so much. Next slide, please. Just different ways to stay connected with us. Facebook, Instagram, all those different things. Next slide. These are the point of contacts for our people. I'm usually the best way in because it's like, just give me a call. That way I can kind of get you aligned with the right people. If it's an introduction, if you're going to come into the district and meet with us, I can get the right people that you guys need to meet. A lot of times I don't know if you guys have been to the SAMI, other conference, but that's a lot of fun for us because it's like, I brought a pretty good team with me. I think it was 6 of us that came there. And so I was introduced to everyone. It's like, you got to talk to this person. You got to talk to this person. So those kind of events are fantastic to do that. So next slide. That's the last one. So any questions for me? I know there's a lot, and obviously there's a lot of opportunities coming up and stuff, but the big thing with me is just like, keep in contact with us because a lot of time it's a timing issue. We deal with so many different companies to just kind of remind us. I know a lot of you guys have new teaming partners, or if your 8A status is about ready to expire, let's get you into a contract. I'm pushing for more 8A MATOCs just because we can get you kind of locked in because you only have so many years. And then, if you get you the last year, you're locked in for 5 years, which is awesome. So we're always looking for different opportunities. If there's ways we can do things better, if anybody went to Memphis, they had a really good panel where we just kind of learned, hey, what are we doing wrong? How can we help you guys? Because we're not the most transparent. I know that's one of our core values, but we think we're transparent, but we might not be. So let us know if it's something we're doing wrong, something I'm doing wrong. Let us know because if we don't know what you guys are struggling with, it's hard to help you guys. So always reach out to us. Whether it's me, Kelsey, and any of the small business deputies, reach out to us because we can help you guys. We can help guide you guys. We've had a lot of people call us say, hey, I'm looking to do work for the government. Like, okay, are you registered? Like, to vote? Like, no. In SAM.gov, like, oh, you got to talk to my Apex accelerators because they're fantastic. And so and they have a whole system. You can go in there and get registered, and they'll get you the right people. I love those guys. Utilize those guys. And I love the new name because it sounds like a superhero, because that's exactly what they are. And so they can help you guide you guys. I asked them, like, do you have a cage code? What's that? Like, wow, okay, let's get you hooked up, and then give me a holler. I mean, I can help you as much as possible, but we're trying to concentrate on people who are actually registered, ready to go, because sometimes it's a really quick turnaround. I've talked to people, they gave me a bid in 3 days just to be able to get in the mix. So they really utilize those guys. I actually went to the association, was AP Tech, maybe a year and a half ago. It was awesome because to see a bunch of them together, frustrated because contractors won't call them back, or I wish contractors will reach out to us. They want to help you guys. Utilize them. It's unbelievable what they can help people. And I've seen people who've been in business for 30 years, I've sent them back to Apex Accelerator because they kind of got lazy on some stuff, or they kind of forgot about the basics. They went back to Apex Accelerators, and I see them, it's like, thank you so much. It's like, I totally got laxed at what I was doing. I got lazy in my capability statements. I wasn't putting their socioeconomic category in there. They weren't putting the NAICS codes on there. When I look at capability statements, I'm looking for, the company name, what their socioeconomic category is, then everything else. I mean, those are the things that I'm looking for. So Apex Accelerators can help you guys with that. So I just want just a little advice for you guys, because I know you guys are all taking the time to come here. Any way we can help you guys get in there, the desire's there. Let us help you connect with those opportunities so we can have successful awards. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All righty, so now we are moving to our EPA Region 5. Norvell, we'll just make sure she's going to be presenting via WebEx, so we'll just make sure everything's going to work here.
Oh, can everyone hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, I'm not sure. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you so much to the St. Louis St. Louis district here for allowing me to share with you. I also did so last year, and it's really a pleasure to be here. And some of what you may hear from me may be a little duplicative because my presentation is geared overall to federal and somewhat general, not knowing where all the small businesses are in their journey with the federal government. But I am the small business coordinator for the Region 5 area of EPA, US EPA, which covers Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Ohio, and also 38 tribes, tribal entities. So we have quite a large territory here and do quite a bit of work in the area of environmental remediation. We also have the GlenPoe, the Great Lakes National Program Office under our umbrella. So that's a lot of that work is very similar to some of the things they do here under the USAID in your district. But in any case, can we move on to the next slide, please? And I'm just going to touch on these areas very quickly. A little bit about the EPA nationally, what we're focusing on here and in my presentation, our commitment to small business in US EPA, the federal acquisition environment, your advantage in being a small business in federal acquisition, and the goods and services mostly, and there's a spelling error, I apologize for that. Goods and services purchased by the US EPA, how to sell and market to the US EPA, other information and resources, and then an opportunity to ask questions. Next slide, please. Established in 1970, so we just had our big 50th anniversary a few years ago. It's a very straightforward mission: protect human health and the environment. while ensuring that the nation has clean air, land, and water. So it's straightforward, but it's very complicated. And the focus here, nearly half of the US EPA budget is spent on grants, which support state environmental programs and other organizations. But the focus of this presentation is contracting. So these are goods and services that directly benefit the US EPA. So that's what we're talking about here, not grants, but there are a lot of opportunities there also sometimes. USA commitment to small business. EPA did receive an A grade on the fiscal year 2002 small business scorecard, which I did link to here, which the SBA produces. Impressively, EPA awarded 48.9% of total prime dollars to small businesses. Now, it is the federal overall goal is half that, less than half, perhaps 22%. So we have very aggressive goals in EPA. And so you can be assured that it is not just lip service in US EPA. We definitely seek and want small business to participate to the maximum degree possible, particularly in the socioeconomic categories, which sometimes are a little harder to reach. But there is a very long-standing, a solid commitment to small business. Next slide. Now, if you're new to the federal acquisition environment, it's unlike the private sector. There are rules, there are regulations, there's requirement for fair opportunity using public funds. We cannot just use businesses we may prefer unless it's a micro purchase. So it's a different environment than other marketplaces you may be accustomed to. So typical selling and marketing practices, you may not get the same result in this environment as you do in the private sector. I always recommend that small businesses seeking to do business in the federal arena, do your homework first regarding the goods and services by the EPA and other federal agencies so you can target your effort. Not all agencies will use what you offer, and it's important to do that background work to focus your effort where you can get the maximum benefit from it. Now, you do have a certain advantage because by regulation, all procurements under the simplified acquisition threshold, which is presently set at $250,000, must generally be set aside for small businesses that meet the SBA size standards in the absence of some other reason that it cannot be set aside. Now, there's also an opportunity for small disadvantaged businesses, particularly those in the 8A program, women-owned, hub-zone, and/or service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses to receive preference for direct awards. And particularly in the business development program, if you have a Alaska Native-owned corporation, you have a much higher award threshold. So those are of particular interest in the federal environment. Next slide, please. Primarily in the EPA, in keeping with our mission to protect human health and the environment, remediation services and environmental consulting for the planning of short-term and long-term environmental cleanup activities form the bulk of our work. And there are specialized areas such as the Great Lakes National Program, which is cleanup and restoration and maintenance of the Great Lake region. Now, of course, the US EPA purchases an array of other goods and services, laboratory equipment. There's a lot of testing that goes on in EPA, and maintenance, of course, infrastructure type goods and services such as IT equipment, general consulting, and research. And I mentioned here again about the Great Lakes National Program Office has a research vessel As a matter of fact, we just awarded a contract February 24th, I believe, to a service disabled veteran-owned small business for maintenance of the research vessel. That was the first SVVOSB to have that contract. So you can also look at and I recommend this for any agency you're interested in, look at their published active contract list, and you'll get a scope of what their acquisitions are. And I've included a live link there. I do believe it works. And the US EPA website also has just a wealth of information about the different program areas that generate the need for the goods and services that we buy. So this is part of doing your homework there. And next slide, please. Outreach event. The US EPA has an Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, OSDBU for short, which is very robust. And they do conduct outreach events for small businesses, matchmaking meetings, capability sessions, as do individual regions, such as Region 5, myself. If you were interested in a capability session with my regional program officials, you would reach out to me. And so be aware that on the national level and the regional level, there's assistance for outreach and connecting you with the program officials who would have a need for your service. Next slide, please. Government purchase card. Acceptance of the purchase card should be notated on your SAM registration. Purchase card buys are smaller, but every dollar does count. And so we encourage you to make that known that you do accept the government purchase card. And I'm sure you're familiar with the official federal procurement portal of SAM, but you can register for automatic notifications of solicitations. And I recommend for EPA, you use the NAAC code 562910 for environmental remediation services, 541620 for environmental consulting services. Those are key contracting areas. So you can automate the searching for procurements to some degree by registering for these automatic notifications. We also, EPA also publishes a acquisition forecast database where all the projected procurements over the simplified threshold of 250,000 for up to 3 fiscal years can be found. It should indicate there also what the procurement approach will be, whether it'll be full and open, small business set aside, depending on market research to be determined. There's a name point of contact for each listing, and you're at liberty to contact that individual for more details. Now, bear in mind that these entries are based on the best information available at the time of posting, but they're subject to change. These are for planning purposes, and it's not a commitment to buy the described service or supplies, but it can still be useful information for you. And I've also included a live link to that, the EPA acquisition forecast. Very important. And that is for the entirety of EPA, including my Region 5 area. Next slide, please. Now, there are so many resources, and what I've done on the next couple of slides here is listed them and included live links that I do believe are, I tried to test them before, so I do apologize if some of them do not work, but they all should. Again, I just mentioned about the EPA acquisition forecast and US EPA active contracts, including remedial action framework contractors. That the remedial action framework was a body of contracts that was awarded to, and there are several small businesses awarded against which we award task orders. So you'll also see that those contractors on this active contract list, their work. EPA small business vendor management system, market research. It's used for market research, and you can register your company there for EPA specific. So it's one more avenue for you to be visible to contracting officers doing market research. Next slide, please. And there's a link there to the OSDBU office that I referenced earlier. And I highly recommend this because it's a very robust site there. Lots of general information, lots of guidance, a one-stop shopping resource, really, for all the things small business related. I highly recommend that be a first stop. Next on the list here is Apex Accelerators, formerly the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, PTACs. And we heard about them, and I also highly recommend that resource for you. And then here's a link to sam.gov, SBA Hub Zone Empowerment Contracting Program. For those of you who may fall under the Hub Zone designation. There's also a link here for directory of federal government prime contractors with subcontracting plans. Because sometimes even if you cannot qualify for prime contracts, they're either bonding or some other scope of, such as emergency response, there's a 2-hour time limit for response time that may not be feasible in some cases to cover an entire region that spans as much territory as Region 5 does. So subcontracting may indeed present opportunities for you to grow your business while you are obtaining revenue. So that can be something you should also seriously consider as you plan your procurement goals. Next slide, please. And by the way, too, prime contractors are all beholden to subcontracting goals. While not as stringently publicized as the prime contract goals, there are also goals for subcontracting, and prime contractors must report on that twice a year. So that's a very serious avenue for you to investigate. Small Business Administration, small businesses right in the name there. They have a subcontracting network also to help you look into more subcontracting opportunities. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Agency, pardon me, can also be of some use to you in getting more information. FPDS has all the federal contracts in there and can also give you some background information, general procurement information, even in your geographical area. Many different search parameters you can use there. GSA, I always recommend, if you do not have a GSA scheduled contract and your service is of the type that it could have a GSA scheduled contract, please look into that. And sometimes it can be somewhat of not a user-friendly process to get on that schedule, but that's where the Apex Accelerator can perhaps help you. It's an expedited form of contracting for busy contracting officials, and so it's relied upon heavily. And you really want to seriously work on that, getting a scheduled presence. Acquisition Gateway has a forecast too. I've linked to that. It has several different agencies forecasted procurements on there. And then also my very last link here is the Army Office of Small Business Programs, which also publishes a forecast that you may look at to as you're planning your business strategy for the upcoming fiscal years. So those are just a few of the things that can be helpful to you. And, in the interest of time, we've had to proceed through them fairly quickly. But we certainly here in Region 5 and the US EPA wish you all success in your future endeavors. And I don't have my contact information in there, but I'm certain that you can obtain it from the host here, Merrill.Norvell@epa.gov. And please reach out if you would like to perhaps schedule a capability section directly with our regional program officials. Thank you so much for listening. Bye now. Oh, question, if you have any.
Are there any questions? Come on, are there any questions out there in the audience?
Whatever I didn't address, I'm sure Jennifer will, so.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You did a wonderful job, and I know it's kind of difficult navigating this virtual presentation stuff, but we appreciate it. You did a wonderful job, and
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
I appreciate the opportunity, really. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. And if Miss Jennifer is ready, we can let her begin to present.
I am here. Can you hear me and can you see me?
Definitely hear you. Yes, I think we're good to go. So yeah, you can go ahead with your presentation if you're ready.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Erickson. I'm gonna rock and roll through this, and you want to know why? Because I am hungry. You guys are on St. Louis time, I'm on Kansas City time. We're all on the same time, and I am a hungry mama bear. So let's get through this quickly. So once again, Jennifer Erickson, I work in the contracts office. I'm the small business utilization specialist with EPA Region 7. My role not only supports Region 7's office, and that serves Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska, but also we also support EPA Region 10. The Region 10 office does not have their own contracting shop per se. So the contracting officers here also support Region 10. So that means I support Region 10, and that's Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. So today I just want to touch on my role. I want to talk a little bit about EPA big picture spend, regional spend, some resources, and yes, some of the resources Norvell may have already touched on anyway. Important reminders regarding the SAM. Oh my God, how many times have you guys heard SAM today? Hopefully I won't offend, but every time I heard the word SAM, I took a shot. Anyway, SAM, Fed Connect, and important reminders regarding solicitations, and just some things that are out there on that EPA acquisition forecast database for Region 7 and Region 10 for FY 2024. So, oh, and an engagement event next month. So we'll talk to that. So right there on that slide, that's my role essentially. Advise small businesses regarding current contracts and available opportunities from the federal government. I assist with market research. I do a lot of research for the program offices, the contracts office. I promote and encourage small business opportunities and encourage the use of them and socioeconomic businesses to participate in EPA acquisitions and meet agency goals. Obviously, doing outreach, doing it right now. Next slide, please. What do we spend our money on? This is on the big EPA, a big picture spend. Top common spend categories are listed right there. And on the very first one, when it says like speaking to like facilities and constructions, we're not necessarily speaking to building buildings or facilities necessarily. We're speaking to more facility support services and remediation services. Next slide, please. Regional spend. So let's talk about Region 7 and Region 10 because it's really similar what we purchase for Region 7 and Region 10. Remediation services, warehousing and storage, temporary help, facility support services. So yeah, once again, 7 and 10 are pretty similar. Next slide, please. Novell had spoke to, I believe, the forecast database. EPA has this contracting with EPA site, and you can find so much information on there. That right there is the homepage, and I've provided a link to it. It has important elements of the contracting process and points of contact, information on regulations and policies applicable to EPA acquisitions. I love it also because it has a frequently asked questions. I know there are sometimes sites where how many of us have the same question because they don't know how to do something, search for something, this or that. Anyway, they have a frequently asked questions uh, thing that you can click on there, and I love it and I use it. Also, I believe on there, under that, on that homepage where it says tools for doing business with EPA page, I would definitely click on that too, because there's some valuable resources that you might want to check out on there as well. Next slide, please. Acquisition forecast database. Novell already spoke to this. So let's go to the next slide. And as I'm aware, all these slides will be provided to you anyway. Okay, this is another thing she mentioned as well, but it's so important. This is just a very popular resource that you would want to check out. Um, it gives the public and contractors a look at what the agency is buying, the EPA active contracts. It contains all active contracts among all contract types. Many small businesses will reach out to large businesses with specific contracts and services they provide for, potential subcontracting opportunities. I've been told it's refreshed daily, so I'll just leave it at that. That I've been told it's refreshed daily, and I think I put access uh, to the link to the database on the slide. I think I did. Next slide. Okay. Sam. Okay, so important reminders regarding SAM and FedConnect, even solicitations. So solicitations are located on sam.gov and fedconnect.net. Regarding sam.gov specifically, it's the official U.S. government system for contract opportunities. And just as a reminder, you've heard this, I don't know how many times, it's mandatory that all firms interested in doing business with the US federal government to register their firms in the SAM. Active registration provides your firm the ability to bid on government contracts, but you better maintain an active registration. And firms must review and update their information in the SAM database on an annual basis from the date of initial registration or subsequent updates to ensure it's current, accurate, and complete. There is no fee to register or maintain your registration. So if you receive an email from a company claiming to represent SAM, be cautious. I was talking to a firm the other day, and he was talking to me about SAM and how he still needs to do that. Some person reached out to him and told them they would assist him for a mere $500. They'd get him all squared away. Thank God we spoke. I let him know there is no charge to that. There is no fee. Poor guy. No, I set him straight on there. So just be cautious of all that. Oh, and another one that you've heard from the good people of the Apex Accelerator folks. Another, I can help you with this and that. I'm with Apex. No, you're not with Apex, because if you were with Apex, you wouldn't be charging me anything. So just be cautious of that too. Be wary, folks. There's people out there. So. I also mentioned FedConnect to search for opportunities. FedConnect, not only just to look for the opportunities, but it provides contract professionals a secure full life cycle. It's an audible approach to interacting with firms, and it includes a message center that manages the communications. Okay. Regarding the important solicitation reminders, these are basic reminders, but they're very noteworthy to mention. because this information, if you don't follow stuff, you could be facing an uphill battle. There could be ramifications regarding your proposal that you have submitted if you haven't followed what is out there and how they want you to respond. So each solicitation package will set forth EPA's technical requirements in a statement of work. The package will also contain all the terms and conditions and evaluation criteria that will determine the successful contractor. Read the posting in its entirety. Offers need to carefully review the entire solicitation package. Look at the clauses. Pay close attention to the instructions and the conditions and notices to bidders. This basically comes down that you've probably heard tons of times too, at that bottom line of remembering the what and the how and the where and the when. Please pay attention to those cutoff times. If it says XYZ and the time is XYZ, then it's XYZ, XYZ. Please pay attention to all that because they set that for a reason. And when they say that's it because they can't give you some kind of advantage over someone else because you wouldn't want that. So please pay attention to everything it says. I will say this, just as an aside, the question has been posed before, if there's a database with like past quotes that were successful bids, and I'm sorry, the answer is no, there's no database with quote information, nor is EPA allowed to release contractor quote information. So remember, what, how, where, and when. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I told you we do region 10. And I told you, and the next slide will be region 7. Here, we just have region 10 that's coming up for FY 2024. One's remediation services, one's janitorial services. The remediation services, I'm pretty sure that one had a pre-solicitation that was sent out. EPA Region 7, we're big on doing our market research. We're big on putting out pre-solicitation notices. We're big on putting out RFIs, source sought notices, all that good stuff. That one specifically, I believe the RFP is anticipated to be issued on or about 3/1. I always like to say anticipated because, someone tries to get you smacked down on that date. No, she said anticipated. So there's that one, and then there's janitorial services. They're anticipating to award. Next slide, please. This is for Region 7, another remediation services. One for wired telecommunication carriers. Next slide, please. Okay. So there is an in-person EPA acquisition forecast engagement event coming up. Yes, I understand that its registration ended yesterday, 2/28, but it also states or capacity reached. So if they're not at capacity yet, you are interested in attending, there is the information there. You want to go to that site and fill it all out. They're going to be sharing upcoming procurement opportunities for 24 and 25 if you are interested. Next slide, please. That's it, folks. Unless you have questions for me. I told you I was going to make this quick. Hungry. But what questions do you have?
My question pertains to the PLA executive order when it comes to limbo and ratox. Does that get applied to the full dollar amount that's been set aside for the MATOC, or is it per task order?
For the MATOC, okay, we don't have a MATOC. That, once again, that's what, a multiple award task
Yeah, for the
contract?
Yeah, that's what it stands for. That's for the Corps of Engineers for EPA, the Glen Pulse that you guys put out.
Okay, I'm only speaking to what's there. I am not aware of a MATOC. They're speaking, they're talking about possibly doing a MATOC down the road.
So ma'am, let's just talk about Glen Pulse for EPA then. You know, you guys have Glen Pulse contracts out there that have individual task orders. Does the PLA apply to the task order itself or to the overall total of the Glen Pulse project itself?
Okay. And let me apologize. PLA. I am not familiar with that term. Can you please tell me?
Labor agreement?
I'm sorry, something labor agreement?
Hey, Jennifer, one of our chief of contracting said he may be able to answer this one.
It typically is going to apply at the task order level, but if you award, say, a SATOC for one overall project, where you're going to award multiple task orders to complete one larger feature of work at maybe a lock and dam, then it would apply at the SATOC level. So we just awarded one earlier this FY for lock and dam 24. Now, we did that prior to this executive order coming online, so it didn't apply. But if we awarded that tomorrow, then it would apply at the SATOC level.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing with us. We really appreciate that. Did that answer your question? I say we can, the contracting folks, they're so lovely. They're going to stay today and be at a table at our networking event as well. So if you have any questions for them, I'm sure they love that. I'm going to tell you to hit them up. But again, Jennifer, we appreciate it. Well, I'm going to try to wrap things up because I'm hungry too. But I did want to share my tips and tricks that I was going to give the group before we get offline because we're only streaming the morning session. So those that are joining via WebEx, here's a few things I wrote down that I just wanted to share with you all. Some of them may have been said, but we'll just fly through them. All right, so find out what your district's DODAC is and use that to search. Ours is W912P9. You'll see that for any contract that comes out. If you put a little star after it when you're searching, it should bring up anything of ours in SAM.gov. And I learned that star trick just recently because sometimes it's hard to navigate or find. Don't wait till the last minute. Jennifer said the same thing to put in your offer or bid because things go haywire, your email may not work, or it's not coming to the server quickly. I understand sometimes things happen, but try not to make that a habit because when you come from contracting, you know late is late is late. Okay, so just wanted to emphasize that. We talked about this earlier, make sure you're getting your SAM updated on time and with plenty of time so it has time to come through. Attend site visits. If you're interested in a project, please attend the site visit. If you can't, a lot of times when I was a contract specialist, I would post the sign-in sheet from the site visit. If your specialist doesn't do that, you might reach out to them. That is a good way if you're not interested in priming, but you want to become a subcontractor. That is a way to look and see who's interested on the project, who attended the site visit, and get with them, get their contact info, so maybe you could be a subcontractor. So just wanted to throw that out there. Get to know your SBA, Apex folks, and me, your small business deputy. Try to reach out to these people, get to know them. Once I know your name and I know what you do, it's easy for me to see a solicitation that I think, you could provide for us, and I can share that with you. So just get to know these folks and get your name out there. Do what you're doing now. Attend industry days, small business conferences, anywhere where there's networking. It's really valuable for you to meet folks for teaming arrangements, all kinds of things. Find out what you're good at and market that. Sometimes I get a capability statement, and not that you can't do a lot of things, but it's just full. And so then it's hard for me to go, okay, what should I really be sending them? So let us know what's your kind of bread and butter, and we can share that with you. And I said it earlier, but please reply to our sources sought, request for information, those things that come out. It's really important for our market research. So I won't keep anybody any longer. Gary Alexander from the SBA is going to be talking about 8As at 1 o'clock. If you can make that, 2 o'clock we'll have our senior leadership panel. So there's a place on the first floor of the building. She called it Over Under. There's a Thai place close, sauce on the side, a Euro place. So there's some places to walk if you're hungry, or, DoorDash, something like that. I'm not putting a plug in for them, but if you need food, make sure you get some. But all right, we'll see you all at the next, afternoon session. Those who joined via WebEx, thank you so much for tuning in with us.